What's going on, everyone? We are live. It is another day, another Tuesday in March, March 29th to be precise, but we are here with an incredible artist. I have some amazing co-hosts that are joining me from the TreeTrunk. And this is TreeTrunk NFT. This is the TreeTrunk Show. John, Czarina, welcome back. We're here again. Arabella, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Hi.
you.
So I think we can just jump right into it. Arabella, I'd love to know a little bit about your story, your journey through art as an artist. Kind of the where we are to where we are now story. But I'm so curious. Like, how did you get into NFTs and this new digital art renaissance that we find ourselves in?
So it was kind of decided for me by my family that I would be an artist by the time I was like 4. I was already a surrealist even then. Like I was, oh, that was my cat jumping off me. Pardon me. But I was, already doing shows. And like by the time I was 12, I decided I was going to art school or film school or something like that. So like I think for my parents, their worst nightmare would be like if I had become an accountant or something like that. Like it was always going to be something in the arts or like museum curator or like something like that. So I went to California Institute of the Arts. I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and moved to Laguna Beach when I was 16. That was a change. Um, and I really got into experimental animation. So I took mostly animation courses because as I found when I was in school at Cal Arts at the time, they didn't really teach you how to paint or anything. It was like theory and a lot of lectures. But in the animation department, like you could draw from life and they taught you perspective and they taught you all kinds of other cool stuff. So like, it was a choice of like, do you want a degree in animation or art? And I'm like, well, in the art department, I get a full studio. In the animation, I get a cubicle. So I'm going to go with the art one. So yeah, I just was doing, figurative work, portraits I really loved. I grew up, with like looking at old masters and old portraiture. Um, and Tamara de Lempicka kind of entered my life when I was a teenager. I was like, ooh, I like this. I want to paint like her. And at the time, like, yeah, figurative work was not popular. And I just was getting crap for it all the time. Like, why are you doing this? It's been done before, blah, blah, blah. And then I came across Juxtapose magazine, which was a real game changer for me because I was like, oh, there's an art magazine dedicated to the kind of art that I like, which was being called illustrative at the time. And that was a bad thing. Like galleries would not show that kind of work. But then over time, like, I guess it's called pop surrealism is the genre I guess I identify with most. And that kind of covers everything from abstraction, surrealism, lowbrow art. You kind of know it when you see it, sort of thing. And yeah, Juxtapose magazine, then High Fructose. And I was like, okay, so what I'm doing is legit. And so I actually started showing in some galleries in LA that were showing pop surrealist work. And then John Curran got popular. So now figurative work is all popular again. But yeah, so I moved to Cleveland from Los Angeles in 2003. I actually had started a record label with my husband, and I just got sick of California. And Cleveland is a very well kept secret, a very big arts town, oddly. People don't know that. And I kind of like that it's a well kept secret because it's like the whole city's all mine. Don't want the tech bros coming here, none of that. Don't want our rents going up, none of that. So I moved to Cleveland and just been able to afford to be an artist, but then like maybe have a part-time job. Like I worked at a data science company, I managed an art gallery, I managed a bar, like all this kind of stuff in between doing art. So I was diagnosed with cancer a decade ago, a weird one in my leg, and I actually had to have part of my leg amputated. So I walked with a cane for 7 years, and also just that whole thing like really freaked me out. So I have this saying, leave the damn house. Like, and after the pandemic, don't you want to leave the house anyway? But well, we're still in a pandemic, but you get what I mean. And I just, really then really started traveling, really changing the direction of my art, doing more abstracts. And then middle of the pandemic, June 2020, my cancer came back to the day, like a decade to the day. And they told me that it's like, sorry, you know. So I'm technically terminal. They didn't want to tell me at first, but they thought I was going to maybe make it 2 months. And then that didn't happen. And then I got really bad again. And then my stepdad actually bought like my burial plot next to my father. Like that's how bad we got. And I'm still here, and it's been 2 years. And no one knows why. And it's mostly, I think it's due to cannabis, but that's a whole nother subject. But so with regard to how I got into the NFT thing, I was trying to go through all of my work, all of my papers, all of my who bought what, where is this artwork, where is all this, so like packaging up my legacy, so to speak, so that some things my family has and some things certain friends have, and like, who am I going to leave to do this, that, and the other. And there's an organization in Cleveland called the Artists Archives of the Western Reserve. And part of their mission is to actually like shepherd, the ephemera of these artists from Ohio and like just keep putting on shows of their work, like in perpetuity. So I gave them like, all of like my press and any like pop culture stuff I've done. Like I did like a 7-inch record for Lil Bub, and just like anything like that I gave them. And so I was thinking like, well, what am I going to do about my digital dossier? Because like, I have it in my will that everything, all my social media is going to go away except for my website. I do want that to be on forever, because I want people to still know who I am. Yeah, so then the NFTs came about, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. You mean I can still sell work, and my family and my husband and the nonprofit, I'm actually going to leave 15% of future NFT sales to them. So the NFTs really came about as like, how do I control my artistic legacy after I'm gone? And I found that this was an incredibly good way to do that. So that's, yeah. And I was asked by someone who works as a project manager with TreeTrunk if I wanted to be involved with helping them, because I come from the gallery world. And yeah, so kind of, I figured like, well, if I'm going to be helping them, like coming from the gallery perspective, I should probably make some NFTs. So that's how it started.
I love that. And I'm curious, as an artist who has come from sort of this traditional art realm before NFTs, I have so many questions, first of all, and I'm so grateful for you sharing your story this way. I'll take it a step back. You were describing the genre that you place yourself in as being pop surrealism, but you seem like you kind of were hesitant about that. Do you feel limited by genres?
I do, because I'm getting over that whole like thing that you're taught, because everyone's a brand now. It's all about personal branding. I actually was teaching a personal branding like tour at the Cleveland Museum of Art, how it's like not a new thing. It's been around since Alexander the Great. But it's just like, you have to be known for that one style. So I do so many different styles. Like if you put them all together, you would not know the same person did all of these. So like, after I got diagnosed the first time, I was like, I'm going to do all abstracts now. Like I'm done with people, I'm bored with people. But then there are abstract artists who do fall into pop surrealism too. So I think it is a pretty broad like genre, like label, I guess. The person who came up with it, actually, her name is Kirsten Anderson. She's a gallerist out of Seattle. She runs Rock LaRue Gallery. And they were like one of the first galleries to show that kind of work, like only that kind of work. So yeah. But yeah, I think now it's evolved to like, because it was called lowbrow, then it was pop surrealism. And now people are saying new contemporary. But I feel like that, and that's supposed to encompass like street art too. So maybe new contemporary is like the new.
I love that.
Like what?
It's super cool, and I love that I'm learning so much new information about like art history right now, and art history, which our story, as some people in the NFT community would say. Shout out to Lizzie from MetaMask. She's the first person I heard use that. But I'm so grateful for all the information that you're giving right now, and sort of this difference, I would say, between kind of this new digital art movement and all this blending of different styles coming in. What do you see as someone who's participated in kind of both the traditional art world as well as this new art world? What are some differences, some similarities, maybe some things you might want to see change in the digital world?
I mean, it's right now, it's just so full of messiness. It's just everyone's trying to get in on the get on, you know, it's just, I think we're going to see a lot of users drop actually, because right now it's sort of like, imagine if every jerk with a Bandcamp decided to release a single on Bandcamp with like, you know, their garage band or like whatever crappy like app they have on their phone. Like I made a little ditty and like, I'm going to make all this money. And that, cause that's the first thing when tell people like I'm doing NFTs. So they're like, oh, you must be making all this money. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. So it's just, yeah, a lot of jokers, a lot of jokers, and I wish they would go away and like let the grown-ups play kind of thing. Like, well, you're not going to take this serious. Like I guarantee these people will not be around in 5 months. Like we're going to see a lot of users drop. I also don't get the whole like, well, there's clicks with everything and it's fine. It's whatever. That's going to happen. I don't get the need for like physical galleries already to show NFT art. That's the only thing that I'm weirded out by. I went to the NFT vending machine in New York and everything that was affordable was gone. The only things left were pigeons and they were like, $420.69.
Of course.
And I'm like, but what if it gets stuck? Like your candy bar gets stuck in the vending machine. What if you paid that and the thing got stuck? Also, I don't know what the fuck these pigeons are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But like, I'm not going to pay that in some weird place in like the financial district. And like, yeah, I don't know. So there's, and clearly this thing looked like it cost a lot of money to make. That was my first thought. Like, wow, someone had a lot of money to make this. So I think that's the other, you can see the disparity of the haves and have-nots by quite a bit. That's why I've been trying to buy a lot of NFTs by Ukrainian artists. But I also just buy what I like. Like I would like almost right now, it's kind of like holding an ape is the most uncool thing you can be right now.
I'm shocked that people, I can't believe people made it that far. I tell people frequently, I'm like, how they made it from like 1, 2, 3 ETH to 100 and whatever. I'm like, what the hell? I would have sold that so long.
And Madonna has one now, and I'm like, okay, well, this is not cool anymore. It's just really not. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that the broism is the thing I would like to see go away, but that's going to be in any, I mean, it's in street art, it's in, you know, it was in the abstract expressionists in the 1950s. Like you're going to have that no matter
No
what.
way.
It will never go away.
Bro culture has been tainting art movements for that long.
Brohams have been ruining things for a long time, especially for women artists. Yes.
Well said. Very true.
And what an NFT space, I think the last statistic I had was we only make up 19% of this space. So
yes,
I would like to see that change.
You and I both. I love that. And Czarina, it's good to have you on here with us. I know you have your own assortment of questions. I can see them in your eyes. Please feel free.
Of course. Well, Arabella, I think one thing that I really love about your art is just the amount of color that you use. It's so beautiful to look at. And I love the experience that comes with each of the works of art. But I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the first work that you put up on TreeTrunk and kind of what inspired Czarina.
Oh, yeah. So that one is from a series called My Biomorphic Garden Party. And that's what I started when I first had cancer the first time, but I didn't know I was sick yet. And I just kind of went with that series. And yeah, they come from a place of abstraction. There's no sketching ahead of time. And it kind of just like stream of consciousness. So it kind of has like jewels and like, was thinking about aristocracy. And then I just kind of go into my own head, so to speak. That's why I kind of I consider it psychedelic art too, or like I think they call it visionary art now, because I do that a little bit with a lot of those pieces. But that's like one that stuck out for a lot of people just because it's, got the black background that pushes it out quite a bit. So, and I love purple. It's my favorite.
You're wearing purple now as well. Oh, will too. I missed the memo.
Yeah, like I'm like one of those artists where I'm like a kid where like if I get a new paint color, I'm like, ooh, let's paint some of this today. Like it's not like, oh, I'll use this for a grand thing I have in my head. I'm like, let's make everything green. Yes. And then I'll adjust it later,
Well, I love that. And just to go back to TreeTrunk for a second. So I know that, you put the work up on TreeTrunk, and I just kind of wanted to ask what your experience has been so far, just kind of like on the platform.
Yeah, so it actually reminds me a lot of like when we had to upload stuff for Sotheby's and things. But it's like I like that you can change the sizes. It was really easy, number one, like way easier than sorry, my cat jumping off my lap again. Gosh, this guy. It was easier than OpenSea, that's for sure. Easier than Objects, and Objects easier than OpenSea. So I like that it shows the full artwork. It's like not a cutoff of like a thumbnail. And I like that you can change the backgrounds because that, changes the color of the work sometimes. People don't realize. And I like that you get your royalties right away, because if anyone knows who's been in a gallery, like they take 50%. And a lot of times they don't work for that 50%. And you're sometimes lucky if you get that 50%. I, for instance, know people who've had their artwork lent to museums and they're still not paid for that artwork that's been lent to the museum. And then if you're a writer, like, Amazon pays you what? Like they take 50 to 60%, which is a lot. So, and you got to wait for that too. Like what, quarterly, something like that. So yeah, with TreeTrunk, it's like, get your money now. I like that.
That's great. And I know that
easy, get money.
I saw that you put up another work as well. I was wondering if a bit about kind of your decision to put up another piece of art, and then what inspired that one as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to go with like my really audacious, bright work. And that one's called Grenadine. And it's just a whole lot of hot pink and fuchsia. And I kind of wanted to see like if anyone would be drawn to it, just because it's such a jarring piece. But also because I'm one of those people, like once I start uploading things or minting things, like I can't stop. So I was like, I have to do another one. And also, yeah, it was just so easy to do. Like, I mean, yeah, OpenSea was kind of a pain. And then like, but I guess that's kind of the fun of decentralization, is like, it's kind of like the 56K modems, you're waiting and it's suspenseful. Like, is it going to go through? But at least on TreeTrunk, it shows you all the like, ding, 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 this went through. Yeah, Object I have a huge problem with. Like I have to refresh the screen all the time, and yeah.
For sure. Well, I'm glad it's so easy to use. And then also, for anybody listening that's super interested in Arabella's work, you can always go to arabellaproffer.com and check out the other works as well.
Yes, and I'll be minting more stuff on TreeTrunk for sure, and getting some more people in on there. Especially I've been trying to onboard so many women artists I know. And I'm like, I'll do it for you. We'll do a Zoom. We'll screen share, and it's just, but it's so interesting. Like so many people are scared of it. Like the fear is odd. I don't know.
Fear of the unknown. I was actually going to ask you a question on that note for artists who might be listening in right now, inspired by your work, people who are trying to pursue similar paths or maybe just pursue their own expression. Do you have any words of advice or motivation for artists kind of like at a point of contention in their career or in their creative process?
I mean, it's a lot of it is luck, and a lot of it is networking, and a lot of it is just doing really good work. And usually with those three, you will go on to do a many thing. But I've had this career for like, the past, I really started in like 1998. So I've been doing this a while, but with the NFT space and Web3, it's like I'm a new baby. Like, like no one knows me, no one knows who I am. And my collectors in the meat world, they don't know about NFTs, and some of them are interested in getting into it, but a lot of them aren't. So it's really like I'm starting all anew, trying to get new collectors, new people no one cares about. Like, it's good that I have a reputation, so they know I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to just like get bored and like my crappy drawing didn't sell, so I'm not doing this anymore. So you can't have that attitude. You kind of got to play the long game. And that's with any art endeavor, whether you're a musician, writer, anything. Like, you can't just be like, man, it's not working, and then go do something else. But as far as if artists who've had a career like me and then they want to like get into NFTs, like expand ways that they can make money, because I mean, that's the thing, I sold out my whole inventory when it first wasn't, like, people found out that I was terminal, because everyone thinks they could sell and make some money when I die. But it's like, now I can resell those things over and over. So like, that you can do that, you can make prints, and then you can like, create different utilities. Like, I was talking to a muralist and she's like, well, I want to do NFTs, but I don't know what I would do. And I'm like, well, we can do like an event tied to your NFT, because you do live mural painting. Like, there's so many ways you can do it with events. And it, like, think of it like Patreon. Like, what benefits could you give your collectors, but like on a small scale? And it's kind of the same thing. Like, NFTs aren't JPEGs that just like sit there static. Like, it's a thing that can do things.
That strikes me, Arabella. I mean, one of the funny things about the new, and by the way, we now have an EIP number. EIP 4910 is the new smart contract for NFTs based on the 721. And it's being merged on the Ethereum Foundation repo. And the funny thing about the 4910 is that it effectively turns every NFT family tree into effectively a DAO, right? A little mini DAO. And so you could say, like, and it's 5 generations deep, right? So you could say that the 5th generation, you can have as many as 10,000 prints in 5 generations, right? 10 to the 5th. Or 10 to, well, depending on 4 or 5 generations, it's either 10,000 or 100,000 prints. And if you have, say, 10,000 prints, that could be 10,000 people supporting a particular cause. It doesn't have to be just, I'm buying this NFT. It could be, we are all, supporting a particular thing. So if I'm buying a $20 NFT at the bottom of the tree, that's going towards something, not just because I'm buying it.
Yeah, I mean, I tell everyone too, when it comes to Web3, that's the other thing I have to explain what Web3 is. Most people don't know. I just tell them, don't pay for anything. Everything is free. All the information you need is free. It is on YouTube. It is on Twitter. It is on Discord. It is everywhere. Do not pay these hucksters, like, take our workshop to get into, these are, again, the money grab brohams. I can't stand them. But yeah, so if you are going to get into Web3 and you want to take your art to that level, yes, it's definitely like, do your research, but do it all for free, because you can do that in this space. And ask anyone, like, I'm offering to onboard people for free. Like, I will, I'm selling, like, for $1, like a little guide PDF through my profile for my collectors who want to get into it. So,
right. And,
like,
and you don't, platforms are fine. Platforms can charge to make things easy, but they shouldn't lock you in, right?
No.
Don't, beware of a platform that locks you in, or, where your data is being stored with them and it would be hard to get out.
Like, I didn't know until someone told me that OpenSea charged what it did, like what, around $100 to do like your initial collection or whatever. Like, they don't tell you anywhere on that. Like, luckily someone told me, and then there were just other things. Like, I got scammed twice in my first 2 weeks. Because no one told me, like, oh no, don't ever give this out, and this happens. And sometimes they'll make like, this person mirrored the entire OpenSea tech support website. like made like a total fake one, and it was incredible. And I showed it to a few people, and they were like, "Yeah, this would have fooled me too." And then actually, someone scammed me because I bought a fake NFT, but like I was telling the person found out the artist, and they felt bad, so then they sent me another NFT because they felt bad. That was really nice. But then I told him, I was like, on TreeTrunk, if you had your stuff on there, this wouldn't have happened because you keep the original.
Right. Yeah.
No.
And I think that's, and all the data is on the blockchain, and there's no, so I think that's a powerful, but yeah, whatever platform it is, right? It should be standards based, and it should be, and shouldn't try to lock you in. I think that's the most important thing, is that, I think that's the best principle for Web3. It's not about decentralization is a word that can quickly start to mean nothing to people. Right. But to me, what it means is that, it's the ethos of not locking you in, that we're actively deciding as new businesses, like, TreeTrunk's one of them, that says, we want to make a lot of money. We want to do good. We want to benefit people that believed in us, and we want to be able to afford to make more features. But we are going to stop short of the fear that that drives a lot of new businesses. And it is a scary thing to start a business. But when you let the fear of saying, well, I'm afraid that if I don't have some way of locking people in, they're going to leave me. Right. And I think that's more deeply part of what Web3 is about. That's the thing we got wrong in Web2. It wasn't the technology. I mean, the internet's more decentralized in many ways than blockchains are. Right. Truly. There's only a couple of things that are semi-centralized in DNS, but really it's very, very decentralized. What we missed was this ethos that says, yeah, we're not going to have, as a culture, we're going to try to do less locking in.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And also, just Arabella, I wanted to say, with you being you're already such a distinguished artist, and I think it's just so inspiring to have you be so humble to coming into the space and just like wanting to give to the community. I think that's so great. And that's something that, with us being on the test net, one thing that we wanted to focus on was just kind of like making it open and bringing people into the space. And I love that that's part of your ethos.
No, totally. I will help anyone who needs to get into it, because I've had so many people help me. And you really do. You need like a mentor, or at least like one person who knows like a little bit more than you. Because that's the thing, is like everyone knows something, but they don't know everything. And anyone who does know everything, they're lying.
Absolutely.
Like if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get in another room, because, But
I took the liberty of I just realized that we didn't have your art on queued up. I think I've got it queued up now. Do you want me to put it on the video? Just
sure. I have one sitting right here.
Yeah, there we go. So
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's
awesome.
if you go to I put a link in here. So if you go to the Czarina NFT preview on TreeTrunk, there are other places that you can buy your work right now before we go mainnet, right? You want to tell us about those?
Yes, just arabellaproffer.com leads you to it all. Most of my originals, they're all gone, but I am taking commissions again. And then this is like pretty typical of what I was doing before I went abstract. So
I love that.
Cool.
But
That's
I am doing NFTs
sick.
of these.
The hair.
Everything
Love
about
it.
that is so sick. I want to dye my hair blue again now.
So I have a collection like this on OpenSea, and they're animated. And then I have an abstract collection on OpenSea where you actually get a real physical piece of art that's tied with the NFT, which is why they're more expensive. But again, like that kind of flopped, unless there's people out there that want it, because like, people just didn't want the physical art, or they wanted the physical art, not the NFT. Like I had someone say like, can I just buy one of those drawings and not get the NFT? I was like, yeah, sure. But it's been like interesting. So then like the portraits that are animated, those I sold a few of those. And then like I've been doing Tezos, which is actually really, really fun. because it's like not too high risk, but I am going to drop a new collection of digital portraits because I just started doing Procreate maybe 2 weeks ago, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
yeah, Procreate is awesome. Are you and so you'll be at NFT NYC or where are some places that people can find you in the next few months?
Yeah, I will be at NFT NYC because it's my birthday too. Be there in Midtown. I have a show at the Ohio Art and Technology Center coming up in April. That's listed on my website. And then in September at the Artist Archives of the Western Reserve.
Nice. And I think you had mentioned, we had spoken before, that there was a magazine article, or Drop Magazine, I think it was.
Oh, yeah. Drop Magazine did a nice feature, and they put one of my abstracts on the cover, which was really nice of them. I'm trying to think. That. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I'm doing a couple more podcasts coming up. But yeah, most of my stuff that you can find is on OpenSea, Object, and then just arabellaproffer.com. I do sell like, t-shirts and iPhone cases, and actually another blue hair for you.
Amazing.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Hey, listen, let me just say while we're here as well, if anyone ever says, I don't want the NFT of that, my ENS is livingwill.eth. You can always give them to me.
Because yeah, like the ones that are animated, like their hair is like tripping like a waterfall, and then there's like stuff going on in the background and everything. So yeah, I'm actually minting a new one on tomorrow. I'm minting a new one in that collection. So wow. See, I can't stop minting.
We're lucky. We need it.
And then
we need more art.
And then at first, like my friends are like, but you're not going to spend any money when you do this. This is just like an experiment, right? And I'm like, sure. And then I started buying NFTs. And my husband was like, how much was that? I'm like, nothing. It's fine. But he finally got it last night. He finally told me, I finally get it. I finally get NFTs. I'm like, yay.
That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. I started understanding NFTs when I started spending money on them too. I was like, oh man, I'm not just trying to flip these. I'm like a full-on collector now.
Because he comes from the music world. He's a writer, but we had this record label together, and I'm like, like this is like buying the Collector Scum 7-inch that band put out only 10 or 20 of, and you're only going to listen to it once probably, and then flip it on eBay, but you still spent $50 on it, Yeah. So, yeah.
It's like the vinyl industry. One of the, when music went physical to digital, it was basically 1 year that full transition happened. But the only component of physical sales that did well and still does well is vinyl. And it's like a
actually not true.
Oh,
not true. Talk to the girl who knows. So we started our label in 2002, which was like the worst time ever to start a label. But it's actually the sales of CDs has been king this whole time.
Wow.
Vinyl had a huge jump in the statistics, and they are making more of, but CDs are still king. And like the Gen Z are now getting turned on to CDs, and they're like, wait, these are so convenient. Why did people? And also because vinyl has now gotten really expensive. So now the vinyl is like $35 and the CDs are $10. Where are you going to go buy if you're at like a used record store and you're 17 years old? So CDs have been king the whole time. But yeah, like, it was like, what could we do? We could, add like a t-shirt, or like, it's like trying to come up with utilities for your NFT, like, stickers, t-shirts, iPhone case. I don't know. Like, so it's, I try to explain to people, it's no different than any of these other creative industries. You're just not over I tell people it's just the same commands you already know, just really fancy terms for them.
Well said. It's so true. And speaking of which, I think this is as good a time as any. We're talking about new terms, one of which is called update. We're updating the terminology, updating the lexicon. Speaking to that, do we have any TreeTrunk related updates that we can let people know about today?
Oh, Will, you are the king of segues, man. That's awesome. And Arabella, it's great. I know you only had a limited amount of time, so if you have
I got 4 more minutes. Woo.
Czarina, we should definitely let the 11 amazing artists that kicked us off in the testnet beta test release of TreeTrunk.io. Let them know that we'll be leading up to the mainnet release, which is we're not going to announce the date yet because I want to frankly have some flexibility there, given we will release no wine before it's time, right? When we get into real money, we're going to be really sure you're not going to lose it. So I have a date for that. It's not very far off, but I'm not going to announce it because I'm going to keep my options open quite yet. But it's not far
I heard
off.
sometime in May.
Oh no, May, June.
Maybe.
But we'd like to get what we'd really like to do is be out at events like NFT NYC, in a big way.
Did someone say party? What?
Parties, and really feature those 11 artists that got us on the board, but for real money, right? So what we hear is that people just lose their minds over, even with the testnet with fake money. People like going in and buying a print for fake ETH and selling prints for fake ETH and then watching their fake ETH royalties going up. And I'm like, okay, we brought the fun, I guess. Now let's bring the money. So that's coming tonight. Normally we'll be doing new releases to production on Monday nights. We have a really big one that'll take a couple of hours to update. So we're gonna bring everybody down. We're gonna have a notice, do it in the middle of the night U.S. time, and so it'll be the system will be down. This was an unusually large one because we're doing a lot of big system changes based on the beta test. So that'll go down tonight, and if all goes well, we don't have to roll that back. We will be live with the new updated system. Most of the stuff this time around are internal things like improvements to messaging Kafka and optimizations, but you'll notice a few things. First of all, it'll be a lot more obvious. The blockchain's a funny thing, right? Because it's slow and it's variable in its slowness, right? So if you create a new print, it could take a while for things to finish on the blockchain. So a website or an application that is having to coordinate with that has to have really good fallbacks and messages that tell you, hey, this is what's going on. Hang on. It doesn't let you mash buttons while it's doing something. So all of those things are really hard to work on, and we've done some really good improvements to that. So the goal for the mainnet release is that no one will lose their money, and no one will worry that they lost their money because of something about the UI or something about something that they didn't understand happening. It's about so we'll be popping better messages. We'll be popping
that's like a big thing with it. People, I watch them, they're like, what's happening? Is it doing something? Because they're so used to it being now. So.
Yeah. The ADHD of SaaS, right? Yeah, the SaaS applications. They're
I have to go, you guys, because I have another meeting that I couldn't move back. But
it's great to see you, Arabella.
It was so nice to be able to talk to you and tell you about all my work. So yeah,
we're so grateful. It was amazing. It was so great to get to know you better, and your work is phenomenal. And it was an honor. Yeah, this is really amazing.
And I'll message you back about that list.
Yes, we will be having daily shows, y'all. We will be doing artist highlights every day in the Treehouse coming soon. There's some alpha. We can throw that update in there as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that's starting on April, right? Next week?
Oh, we're gonna let them know. All right, yeah, starting in April. You heard it here first, y'all. It's coming in the Treehouse with Will's Treehouse. And
the time for that, do you have a time set yet?
We are still developing the time.
Okay.
We are still experimenting with this.
You're going to go with the rave format where people have to find out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Easter egg hunt for the time.
Rave.
Yeah, me too. So I miss being physically capable of going to a rave and not dying as a result.
There's an episode of Hard Copy that it is on YouTube from 1997 of me on the corner of Melrose Avenue buying a map to a desert rave. You can barely see me because it's like they're across the street and they're like, and this is where the youngsters go to buy the map to then go to the sex party in the desert. I'm like, there was no sex party, there was pancakes. Like, oh my God.
Pancake rave in the desert?
It was a pancake rave. They had pancakes in the morning. Like, what the heck, Hard Copy? Anyway, yeah, I'll send you that link too. You guys might laugh at that.
Yeah, let's go find a mugshot. Yeah, that'll be good. Arabella, thanks.
Bye, guys.
Good to see you. So we'll be having more great artists on. I assume that'd be really awesome. And I think one of the things that would be great as we go into general release is to effectively have your daily show be one where people who want to get on TreeTrunk, they want to talk about their art. So get on get on the show, talk about the art, and then use that as a way to get on the whitelist, which would be pretty cool.
Super cool. I can't wait. And that also, Arabella is amazing, by the way. Can we just? I just wanted to reflect on the fact that she's cool as hell.
She really is. Yeah, we got some great artists, right? And please go and find those artists where they are now. Buy their work today, no matter where it is, and then pretty soon you'll be able to buy them on TreeTrunk as well for real money. Yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, I'm trying to think of any other updates. So for the community, this is one of the things we really want to do. We'll have a segment every week on the live TV, on the TV show here that has, or the stream, where we talk about updates. We'll start to do a lot of transparency stuff, like showing people early designs and feature ideas and stuff like that, so that the community knows what's going on and isn't just surprised by things. Like I said, this update tonight is pretty kind of in the guts of the system, so there won't be a lot of UI changes. There's a really big UI change coming, where you'll be able to, on mobile or on desktop, be able to flip and go through a tree so you won't see all these prints on the main marketplace. You'll see trees of so you'll see the top level of each. So if we have 11 artists, you'll see 11 icons on the marketplace. You click on one of those, and you'll have the top, the first generation. You flip down, you'll see the second generation. You click on print number 3, and you'll see all of its children, and etc.
Could we do like a live walkthrough with one of these shows where we could kind of show people like we did in Denver?
Yeah, we absolutely can.
It doesn't need to be live. We can, fake it. Yeah. I was gonna say, John, you called it a show and then you hesitated to call it a stream. I would call this a show. We talked about pancake raves. We talked about different art movements and.
Oh yeah, no, I think I called it. I corrected myself. I said it was in TV because I'm old. And
I think this is a TV show, man. I'm gonna be tuning in. I'm gonna be rewatching these. I can't wait to learn about some of the art movements she talked about and some of the artists she spoke on.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Right on. Yeah, so those are all the updates this week. Look forward to seeing if people find the improvements. There should be a noticeable improvement in usability and responsiveness of things. So the feel of the marketplace and the system should really be improved starting tomorrow, if all goes well. We have one developer who had and this is one good reason not to do a push is if you have a key member who is of the team, they had a medical thing happen in their family, so we didn't push it last night because they weren't available, and we're like, no, we're not going to do it without you. And
awesome.
And yeah, so we normally push on Tuesday night or Monday nights, and we didn't for that reason. And we'll then proud to do that, right? I mean, you got to back your team, you got to have their back. So that's why we didn't do it last night, but we will do it tonight.
And we'll keep them on our thoughts as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, they're okay. Yeah, that's all we got this week. But we'll do this every week, right? And is this our time? Or we're locking down this time?
This is it, y'all. You can find us. This is the only place that you can find me in the morning. It'll be TreeTrunk. Otherwise,
Also, before we head off, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to all the artists just one more time. But our artists on the platform right now are Arabella Proffer, Brandon Bro, Carmilla Sumantri, Crypto Jeweler, Dilek Sezin, Ashita Banerjee, Latch, Logic, Perrin Haydari, Sam Madhu, and Vimal Chandran.
Wow. And she did that all from memory. That's good.
That was really impressive.
Yeah. Well, you call them all the time, right? She's like calling it, you up? What's going on? So yeah, very cool. We're looking forward to more. And now I think we're starting to open the door for the next wave of artists, right? After the mainnet launches with these 11. We're going to have at least a couple of weeks with just these 11 to honor them. And then we'll start opening it up for more. One of the things we're really working on, I should probably talk about this, and maybe I'll talk about it right now, is how to make the TreeTrunk's platform, right? Now, you can create a tree trunk, a family tree on TreeTrunk, and as more and more platforms support the standard, you can buy them anywhere. And in fact, I'm really looking forward to when you can simply buy it straight off of any embedded, just embed a particular print in any website or any other platform, and you can buy it right there. You don't have to come back to TreeTrunk or anything else, right? And you can just buy, as long as it's wallet enabled, boom, you got it. You can do it on Living with Wells website. You can put it in there. You can put it anywhere you want. And then people can buy it and trade it from there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that was one of the more interesting points that was brought up today. So you were saying like true decentralization, there's like this move towards it is like platforms not locking you in. Can you speak about that a little bit for people who might not be as familiar with, the blockchain or why that might be important?
Sure. Yeah, the lock-in is where somebody's got your data. I mean, like Facebook's locked in. It's a lock-in. Now, I have to say, in a way, if you think in long enough terms, the world is it has a kind of decentralization now. Facebook could be MySpace, right? People get sick of Facebook. You can leave. There's only they do have some of your data, and you would lose some stuff, but it's mostly about lock in as a form of where you're saying, hey, people are too lazy to change. That's a pretty weak kind of lock-in. And a lot of things are like that, there's a program we use called Gitbook, which presents our docs on the web, right? Our data for the docs is in Gitbook or in GitHub. So even if they went out of business, Gitbook, doesn't matter because the we would just have to find something else to present it on the web. But it's a pain to do it. So we don't. And so we stick with Gitbook. Right. I don't think that's all that bad. Right. If the only reason I'm locked in is because I'm lazy and I don't want to switch. Okay, that's good.
So I do a lot of what I do.
Right. And honestly, people work hard to make things easy for people. That's what happened with the web. I was there helping with the web and I was young for helping with the internet, but I was kind of there too. But the web was definitely my age group. And when, there was lots of stuff going on. I mean, there's people that did way more than I did on that. But in those days, we had this dream of, everybody was going to host their own web pages, and everybody's going to have a router on the web and all this stuff. And it didn't happen, right? Because it's a hassle. It's technical. So people made it easy, right? And now you have, now it's super easy. You go to Wix and start your website, right? And that's a platform. And they spent money trying to make it easy for you. And they spent all this time design and everything else. It's what we're doing right now with TreeTrunk. And we kind of want to get paid for that because, it took effort and it's hard. It's hard to make things easy. So I think, I don't have a problem with, platforms, saying, hey, the important thing is to say, you want to stay here. Not that you have to, right? My job with TreeTrunk and Czarina's job as well, and the whole team's, is to make you want to be on TreeTrunk because it's awesome, not because you have to go there because we're holding the keys to your to stuff. So that's what I mean by lock-in, right?
Love that. Appreciate that. And we're starting to get questions in the chat, by the way, which I love. So shout out to everybody who's been watching live. This is a live show, by the way, y'all. So if you're watching the recording, you can tune in week to week with us. We are live. You can ask us questions in the moment. I live in Decentraland. I live in the metaverse.
Right.
But no, I'm super, John, we might have to do an episode sometime where we just talk about like your career in building these, infrastructures that we kind of like live on now. Because the more that I get to know you, the more I learn that you're instrumental in a lot of these things. Kind of a legend in the space.
No. I had some bosses that were, though, right? I had a boss that got, convinced IBM that the internet was a thing. That was a guy named John Patrick.
Most people don't say things like that, John.
Yeah.
Most people don't have a boss who taught IBM about the internet.
Yeah, no, I remember I was on the internet team back in the 90s, and not everybody thought it was going to be a thing. And this guy did, and also a guy named Irving Wildlowski-Berger, and ultimately a lot of people did. But yeah, I remember working on the internet division when you had an internet division. Right now, you don't need an internet division now. You just it would be like having an oxygen division, right? But yeah. Got to see a lot of that stuff. I think there's some folks that, obviously, Mark Andreessen and Mozilla and Netscape and all that stuff. Those were big contributions that I didn't do. Look forward to seeing the TreeTrunk next release, and then so the marketplace release is going to be a big deal. The mainnet release, and then ultimately creators. So what I wanted to bring up just in the last few minutes here is creator tools. What we want to do is make it really easy for legit creators to be on our platform to create their trees, right? We call it planting the trees, right? So you want to plant your trees, and we want to make it super easy for you to do that. And then you can take them anywhere you want to go that supports the new EIP 4910 standard, and which is compatible with the ERC 721. And there is a way that we will ultimately make it really easy, so you can just kind of not one click it, but let's call it metaphorically one click your existing NFT and turn it into an upgraded 4910 NFT. So that'll be cool in the future, not today. If you were a sufficiently good coder, you could probably do it today because it's possible. It's just that we haven't made a tool for it. We want to make it easy for you to get on and do that, but we also don't want people who are actively stealing other people's stuff to have an easy time getting their stuff on our, at least using our platform to do it, right? I mean, the blockchain kind of lets you do stuff, but I don't want to help bad guys. It's just I'm not interested in that. So how do we make it hard for bad guys and easy for good guys to do what they do? Without turning it into a big log jam or creating some kind of game problem. Like some platforms, you have to get a referral from another artist. That creates its own problems, right? Artists start spamming other artists, and it's like, hey, can you do me a solid? Blah blah blah. It's not the best way. It's kind of an interesting way, but it's not the only way to do it. We're toying with a few ideas. So we don't want to be something where anybody can use the platform without any kind of validation, but we're also not going to ask you for your personal information. So that's tricky, right? If we're not going to KYC you or whatever and check you out, how do we make sure that you didn't go and steal somebody else's work and put it up on our site? We got some pretty good ideas for that, and if anybody out there has good ideas, please look us up. We're designing that right now.
And speaking to that, we have some people asking, ways that they can get engaged, ways they can get involved. TreeTrunk.io, first of all, website, definitely go there. You can go to TreeTrunk NFT on Twitter. You can follow me or our amazing co-host as well, and stay tuned, and follow up with follow up with the show. We're here every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we will be having daily Twitter Space shows called Will's Treehouse, in the Treehouse with Will. It'll be a variant show, different artists, different activists, different entrepreneurs, but we will make sure there are various points of entry for you to get involved. And really excited to be, playing my small part in raising awareness to this. I'm extremely excited. Czarina, did you want to end on do you have any final thoughts for the audience? I want to start having like final thoughts with Czarina, kind of like a segment where you just inspire everyone as we go out into the day.
I mean, I will say just, with us being on the testnet, I think everyone should just take advantage of learning the platform right now, because in the space, everyone's an expert and everyone's a beginner. We're very new to the space. So, just taking that in and experiencing the platform right now is a great idea, especially while we're on the testnet. So I think that would be my my closing remark.
I love it. Make mistakes while you can, y'all.
We got to make a stinger for Czarina. So Serena's corner, big stinger. That'd be awesome, actually. Okay. So that's all there is to print, and that's all there is to print. That should be our tagline. Given that with TreeTrunk NFTs, you print prints. So
the last print of the day.
Right on. It's good to see everybody. Yeah.
What was that old? What was it? It was good evening, good afternoon, and good night. What was that? It was the Truman Show, I think. I forget who did it. We just end it. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
There's all the news that's fit to print, I think was the old one.
We're gonna come up with it here. This is the tree trunk, the everlasting tree. What was that book when we were kids?
Giving Tree.
Giving Tree?
Yeah.
We'll figure out some sort of giving tree. We're not giving you the stump. This is a self-sustaining, self-loving tree.
Yep.
With lots of branches.
Yeah, exactly.
Our tree trunk enthusiasts, are they tree huggers? Is that what they what
I love
hey,
that.
tree huggers out there. Oh, and that's my grandfather clock saying it's time to end another show of the Tree Trunk. Living with Will, Czarina Charangundla. We'll have more of the team on. They're all busy writing code and doing stuff right now. Andreas Freund, our CTO, we'll get him on here. He usually has a conflict at this time of the day, but we'll get him over here at some point. And we'll see everybody on this show every week, and also on the social audio with the Will's Treehouse. All right. See everybody. Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Peace, y'all.